Today, we're going to be breaking down a simple concept that you can utilize to help improve your musicality while you're freestyling. So let's just hop into it. So the concept that we're going to be breaking down today is less of a new concept to add to your arsenal. It's not a new footwork step or a foundation principle. This concept works more so as a new perspective or a new way in which you can look at the tools and the steps and the principles that you already have in your bag. So as we get started, I want you guys to think about pulling from your own knowledge and your own arsenal of movement ideas, steps, concepts, everything that you already know up to this point. And today we're gonna seek to look at all of those things just a little bit differently in order to formulate a better relationship with the music that we're dancing to. So the concept that we're gonna be breaking down today is based on this prompt of playing the music that we're dancing to, or playing the instruments in the music that we're dancing to with our body, or with our movement. What do I mean by that exactly? Sometimes when we're dancing or playing around with different movement ideas, it's very easy to think about our musicality or our timing only existing on the counts. Since we time music as dancers with 8 counts, sometimes it can be easy to fall into the monotony of timing our movement to that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, which I am not saying is bad. Understanding how to count and to time your music is a vital skill that we must understand as dancers. This concept is more so based on the idea of listening to the actual sounds that are being played in the music that we're dancing to. So rather than relying on the structure of an 8 count to time our movement, we're instead going to think about pulling our cues for our timing and our musicality from the sounds, the instruments, and the patterns that are being played in the music that we're dancing to. It's sort of just a different way of looking at or listening to the music that you're dancing to. And one reason that I feel that this is helpful is that sometimes if we focus too much on being exactly on the counts that we're dancing on, if we focus too much on hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We might be on time, but we also might be missing what the actual sound of the music is that we're dancing to. Yes, the counts are there to provide structure and to help us time the music that we're dancing to, but the timing of the music is not the music itself. It's more so what holds the music together. And yes, while the 8 count does provide structure for us in timing our music, the actual depth of the kick drum, or the clap of the snare, or the sounds of the melody or sample in the song can also work as a prompt for us as we're freestyling. And in my opinion, if we only ever focus on the literal timing of the music that we're dancing to, we will miss out on an opportunity to further match our movement to the actual sounds of the music rather than the timing. I hope that that distinction makes sense. So that's the concept that we're gonna be exploring today. Whatever music you might be dancing to and whatever particular sounds might be being utilized, for this video, we're going to explore what it would look like to pull our inspiration or to pull our prompts for the movements that we do while we're freestyling from the sounds of the music that we're dancing to. Or you could think about it as executing the movements that you would normally do when you're freestyling on the actual sounds or instruments within the music rather than the counts or the timing. So how do we do this? What are some practical steps that we can take to actually practice this idea in our own movement? Now, to sort of help us navigate this, I'm going to lay out a separate sort of sub-concept in addition to this concept that I think will help to give us a little bit of direction as we're exploring this idea. One of the easiest ways that I think that we can sort of start to play around with this idea within our own movement is to think about this idea of analyzing all of the different sounds in the music that we're dancing to, listening to all of the different elements and instruments, and really trying to separate them all individually in our mind. Thinking about isolating the different components of the song, such as the melody or the sample of the song, the bass line, or the percussion, meaning the drums. Just within the drums themselves, there are multiple different sounds that we can listen to and really kind of pull apart and isolate as we're listening to the music that we're dancing to. So for this little sub-concept, what we're gonna think about doing is as we listen to the music that we're dancing to, and as we seek to isolate all of the different sounds that are playing and that are coming at us, we wanna think about matching or isolating our movements to those sounds that we're isolating in the song that we're listening to. In other words, you could think about isolating simply the melody in your head, listening to only the melody of the song, really trying to study how it sounds, the structure of it, where it might repeat, where it might change, how it feels in your body when you're listening to it. And from there, utilize that as a prompt for your freestyle. But the main idea is to isolate and to only dance to that component of the song. Sort of creating that parameter of only dancing to one component of the song in order to more intentionally study the way that it actually sounds when it's being played. Now you could do this with any component of the music. One of the most influential musical components when it comes to hip hop dance is the drums. There's no getting around it. Within the drums, there are multiple different sounds that you can listen for and utilize as cues or as prompts for your freestyle. For example, within the drums, you have the different pieces of the drum set. You have the kick, which is that deep sort of hitting sound. You have the snare, which sounds almost like a clap, although sometimes you will actually have a clap that is being played. And you also have the hi-hats, which are most commonly on that double tempo rhythm of the song. If you put all of those together, you have your drum pattern. And the cool thing is that we can isolate all of those sounds individually as we're freestyling and sort of utilize those as prompts for the movement that we're doing. Now this all works in theory, but how do we actually do this? My advice would be, for this concept, think about just freestyling how you normally would in any other freestyle round. Take the movements and the concepts that you are most comfortable with and that you utilize most often, and instead of feeling like you have to change those things or change what you're doing, think more so about changing just the way that you're doing it. Think instead about matching those same movements or ideas that you would utilize when you were freestyling to the specific sounds of the music that you're dancing to. Now, some of you might be saying, well, yeah, duh, that's what we do when we freestyle. You've explained nothing. Yes, we always consciously are dancing to music when we freestyle, but I feel that sometimes it is easy to, instead of listening to the way that the music actually sounds and dancing to that, it can be easy to sometimes fall into simply hearing the music and sort of just like dancing on top of it. Maybe matching the rhythm or the tempo of it, but not really listening to what it actually sounds like and letting that sort of influence the way that we freestyle. You could have 3 different hip hop songs, all of them that have the same exact timing and structure. They could even have the same beat pattern. But if the actual sound of the instruments that are being played are different, then it's gonna feel like a completely different song. And so I encourage you guys to just sort of dive into this idea of exploring what it would look like to study the music on a deeper level while you're freestyling and allow it to sort of prompt the movements that you're doing and just sort of observe how it changes the way that you approach your movement and the way that you approach your relationship to the music that you're dancing to. Now, to give you guys an example of this, I'm going to hit a couple of different rounds dancing to different components of the same song, just to sort of illustrate the way that I play around with this idea so that you guys can see it being done and then try it for yourself. With all that being said, let's just turn on some music. For this first round, I'm gonna be focusing on primarily dancing to the melody and the bass line of the song. For this round, I'm gonna be listening to the snare. For this round, I'm going to be trying to isolate the kick. Hi-hats. to focus on dancing to just the drums, but all the sounds in the drums. Now that we've done round isolating each element of the song, I'm gonna give myself one round to just sort of freely explore. Now that I've broken apart where all the different components in the music lie, I'll have an easier time highlighting them with my movement. Let's give it a shot. Well, some of those rounds weren't the best, but you guys get the idea. I think another piece of advice that I have for this exercise is to not focus so much on what your movement looks like, but primarily to tap into how your movement feels. Specifically, when you hear the music that you're dancing to and the different sounds within the music, what reaction do those sounds naturally evoke within your body? How can you tap into that sensation of what the music naturally makes you feel as a means of generating movement prompts and ideas? Tap into the feeling above all, especially for this one. Sometimes I think that if we get caught up in trying to be too perfect or in trying to manufacture our movement or make it look a certain way, we lose out on that fundamental connection to the music, which should be our guide in the first place. So I challenge you guys for this exercise to just focus on the natural sensations that the music evokes within your body and to respond to those and to tap into those as prompts for your movement exploration. As you can see, I'm dripping, so you should be too by the end of this. If you guys would like further breakdowns of this idea, or if you have any ideas for breakdowns that you would like to see on the channel, be sure to comment those down below. You guys can also feel free to reach out to me at The Shed on Instagram or TikTok. If you mess around with this idea and film yourself doing it, be sure to send me a video at The Shed or post it on Instagram and tag me in it. I'd love to see you guys playing around with this concept. And also, be sure to check out the first link in the description, which will take you straight over to the Shed's page on Patreon. I want to thank you guys so much for your continued support of me, this channel, and for your time in watching this video. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace out. I'm gonna go take a shower.